are live. Hi everyone, hi everyone, hi everyone. Welcome, 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 welcome. Today we're just going to have some fun. Today is going to be a very different kind of stream. Hi chat. Late OP? No, not late OP. No, it's 9:30. In fact, it's 9:29. Come on, come on. Tell me you can hear me. Tell me you can hear me. Tell me my voice is audible. Tell me everything is good. Not late. Exactly, Miss Nonchalant. Shout out to Preeti Sharma. On dot. Excellent. Yes. On time. Very cool. All right. 1 second. Oh, Nishit Verma. Welcome to medical students. Your voice is audible. Yes, not late. You guys are awesome. We love both Neuroscience and Among Us. It's the best stream. Yes, hold on. Okay, chat is going too soon. Hang on. Do you mind if I put a 20-second gap? Because there is nobody else coming. It's just me, guys. It's just you. It's just two of us and the iPad screen. We are going back to the basics. We are going back to where this channel sort of started from, where it's just me, people who are interested, and us learning something together. That's it. That's the plan here. Yeah, let's play together. Let's learn together. We are just going to have a conversation. And after that, after we have analyzed this thing, we can play. Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't played with you guys yet. So let's do that. OBS reconnection successful. Okay. Let's give it a minute. Use vents always. Absolutely. Buffering, I know. Lag. My OBS just disconnected and then reconnected. So let's give it a second. I'm sure it'll be fine. Lag. Okay. Am I back? Am I audible? Is it okay? It's back. All right. How are you guys? Let's take a minute just to see what's up with everyone. All right, everybody seems up for it. Everyone seems up for it. Hi everyone. Okay, a lot of people in the chat. Can't say hi to all of you, but yes, a lot of familiar faces. Murtuza, Srinath is here, Miss Nonchalant, Wasim is now a moderator. Okay, Jagrita gang. I don't know if the Jagrita gang is going to join, but they do know that this is happening, so they may join in the chat. And we already have 138 likes. That's awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Namisha, Mansur, Nick. Oh, you made it. I didn't think you were going to make it. Priyanka Punjabi. All right. So, why are we talking about this? Two reasons. One, I haven't done a neuroscience off topic in a while, and I was missing it. So the last one that I did was neuroscience of sexuality, but that was a private class. And I really wanted to do one on my channel, open to everybody with chat. Let's just have a conversation, that kind of thing. And I thought, why not? Why not do Among Us? Second, I have been playing Among Us for the last 3 days. And I always like to mix things up. I always like to merge things. So if you are doing Among Us, then, and you are doing neuroscience, then let's put this together, right? So somebody had asked in the chat way before that, you are deviating from the core principle of this channel and you're pandering to the audience and all that. I don't think of it that way. I think that you have to just be where you are and enjoy it and learn whatever that comes in front of you. So that is a sort of a linear way of thinking, and I hope that we don't do that. Let's talk of Among Us, and let me just open up my iPad a little bit and show you the few nice images that I have put together, and let's talk. Shall we start? Learning is the base. Doesn't matter how it's coming, where it's coming from. Excellent. You guys are awesome. That's sort of what I figured as well. Okay. So, what is Among Us? A lot of you know. Some of you don't know. It's a multiplayer game, and I think it released in 2018. It got really popular in 2020, and probably the pandemic had a lot to do with it. Everybody's sitting at home, everybody's separated from everyone else, and suddenly they have this amazing game where everyone can join together, play together, talk, and the same reason why PUBG got so popular. Now, the idea of the game, very simply, is that there are two teams. There are crewmates and there are imposters. So, as soon as you join the game, you are told that you are either a crewmate, in which case there are a lot of you. So there may be 5, 6, 7, 8. There may be so many crewmates. Or you are an imposter. So an imposter is somebody who is out to kill the crewmates. Okay, so that's the basic concept. The crewmates will win if they complete the tasks, and the imposters will win if they kill all the crewmates, right? So if say there are 10 players, there may be 8 crewmates and say 2 imposters. Basic concept. Now the 2 imposters have to kill 8 crewmates, or I think 6 crewmates. So the number of imposters have to be more than the number of crewmates. Another way that they can win is by something called as sabotage. So around the map, there are certain tasks that the crewmates will have to do, but the imposters can screw things up and say reduce the oxygen or set off a reactor, and then there is a countdown, say 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and in that time, if the crewmates don't solve that sabotage, the game is over, the imposters win. So that is the two ways that the imposters can win, either kill everybody or sabotage. The crewmates can win either by completing all their tasks, or, which is even more fun, identifying who is the imposter and voting them out. That's it. So we need exactly, so like how Rider OP won yesterday, the idea of losing by sabotage is so painful, but that's what happened yesterday in one of the games, and everybody thought that somebody else will go and fix it, and then nobody ended up fixing it. So Ivanch, exactly, I wasn't playing the game, I was doing research for the last 3 days. So credit where credit is due. Okay, you thought I was just screwing up, but no, it was all part of the learning. Now what is this? What is this cute little thing? This is a ghost. Now every time you die, you don't exit the game, you come back as a ghost. And the idea of the ghost is that the ghosts can't interact with any of the physical things. It cannot interact with other people, but they can do two things. If it's a crewmate, you can complete your tasks, and if it's an imposter, you can still sabotage. So Aranya is here, and yes, Aranya, you were my guinea pigs, and you never suspected. So I was the true imposter all along. No, it was so much fun playing with you guys, and I say it like it's past tense, but there is a lot to learn. I have to learn to vent properly. So we're definitely playing again. So this is the basic concept of the game. Now, one of the sabotages that happens is lights off. So the imposter can switch off all the lights, and then what happens is now the crewmates can only see a limited distance. Now this is an interesting concept because this is there in a lot of games. If you have, I don't know how many of you have played Age of Empires, for example, but even in Age of Empires, there is a concept called as fog of war. And this concept is there across games, which is about vision. How much can you see? And right off the bat, this is a very interesting concept from a neuroscience perspective, because your reality depends on what you see. So when the lights are out, what would your normal vision maybe have been so much, now suddenly you can only see this much. And so if there is an imposter right here, this person can't see that imposter, and so your reality is based on your zone of vision, or what you call cone of vision. Similarly, if you've played Age of Empires, your range of vision keeps improving the more buildings you build. And in this, if as soon as the lights are on, suddenly your vision improves and you can see at a much more greater range. How do we, what is this game coming from? Where has this come from? The first time I played it, I remembered a board game that I had played when I was a kid called as Cluedo. Or it's also, I think there's another game called Clue. And that was the game that I remembered. I don't know how many of you have played. I got it along with Monopoly. But Cluedo is a game where there is a board and there are 6 or 7 players, and each one will move across the board, and one of them is a murderer, and you can kill somebody in one of the rooms. And so it was literally that at the end of the game, all the other people will have to be detectives and say that, say, Miss Scarlet killed so and so person in the library. And if you can say that, then you win. And that is one of the original detective board games. And as soon as I played this game, I realized that this is very similar, because instead of a board, now we have a digital map. And everybody starts off in the cafeteria, and then everyone heads off in different places, and then suddenly you will find a body. And say you will have to say that there is a body in the electric room. And now who killed him? And so everybody has to join forces, meet in the cafeteria and discuss. And it is actually like watching a detective story, that where were you when the body was found? Where were you when this body would have been killed, this person was killed? And so somebody says, oh, I was in navigation. But if somebody else says, no, I was in navigation, you can't have been in navigation, that means that this person is lying and therefore he could be a killer. So it is actually a detective story played out in real time. And this leads to a lot of interesting conversations where there are questions, there is cross-checking, there is lying, there is betrayal. So we will get to all of that. But this is the basic concept, and I loved it that yeah, electric is probably the best place to kill. Worst place to be at, I know. Especially if you don't know to vent. So I was so close to making the perfect kill. All I had to do was to turn and vent. Instead, I walked out of the door like a chump, and 4 people walked in and saw the body. And that is going to haunt me for a while. So I'm sorry, I'm just venting out loud here. But yeah, you live and learn, right? You live and learn. That brings me to learning. So this part of the discussion, the neuroscience of all games, starts with this. The neuroscience of all games starts with learning. How do you learn to play a game? So for the last 3 days, let's look at it, right? Like, what all have I learned? I've played 3 games, and I've played them with people who have been playing for a while. Even Aranya, who claims to not know the game, actually knows the game. So yeah, she's playing Among Us even when we are not playing Among Us. But the idea of learning, so what all did I learn? Let's see. I learned the rules of the game. I learned what all strategies I can make. I learned the map. I learned the geography. I learned how each room connects to the next. I learned about all the tasks. I learned about how to kill. I learned a lot of lying. I learned more about lying than I've learned in any other place, which is not really a good thing, but kya kare? I've played it, so yeah. How does this happen? What is the neuroscience that happened when I learned all these things? The rules part is easy. You have a brain. And some of you are waiting for this moment. I don't know how many of you are waiting for this moment. I was waiting for this moment because this is my comfort zone. We are no longer in the map. We are in a different map, and I know this map and I'm very comfortable with this map. So let's talk about this map for a while. You have the brain, and in the brain, just like in the Among Us map, there are different areas. Some of the areas you already know. You have a frontal lobe, and in the frontal lobe you have a PFC, which is the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex in this context has an important role to play because this is where your working memory lies. Now, what is working memory? If I give you a piece of information, if I tell you that, if I give you my phone number and I say that these are my 10 digits, I want you to remember them. The first few seconds, that phone number is going to be here in your working memory, because that is the memory that will take a new piece of information and just hold it for a while before you know what to do with it. मैं इसको कहाँ रखूँ? Before that, your working memory is holding it. Now the problem with holding something is that you can't hold it for too long because eventually you will need your hands for something else. So you'll have to keep it down. So till that time that you keep it down somewhere, your working memory is going to hold that information. So when I'm playing Among Us, the first time I played it, I am looking at, there is a task in navigation. Now, where is navigation? So now I open the map, I look at the whole map, I see, okay, so navigation is here. And then I close the map. I have to remember it now. I have to remember that navigation was on my right and it have to go down and go up. So that is where navigation is. So now my working memory is keeping this piece of information. Suppose I didn't have working memory. Then I will open the map, see that navigation is there, close the map, and I won't know where navigation is because there is no working memory. So step one of learning is that I need working memory, because that is, working memory is like the hands that you take something with. Okay. So fine, working memory, I learned something. Then what happens is, right behind, all the way behind in your temporal lobe is an area called, now this is where Tanmay would have said, but what is there in the temporal lobe that I'm going to say, which is important for learning? Chat, whoever says it first gets to be mod for the day. Whoever says it first gets to be mod for the day. What am I going to say now? What area am I going to say right now? Hippocampus. All right. Stuti, you are, wait, you are going to be mod for the day. And, okay, cool. Hippocampus it is. Sorry guys. So Stuti got that one. Wait, what's happening? Aranya, I'll share, but mods remove. Yeah, cool. Not a problem, Aranya. So, like Stuti rightly said, there is something called as the hippocampus. Okay, and I'm going to draw it like this because the hippocampus is shaped like a seahorse, and it's literally that, I think it's Latin for seahorse. And so in the temporal lobe, sort of, if you open your ears and you go in and you go really deep in, very deep in, you will find something called as the hippocampus. And why is this important? The hippocampus is where all your long-term memories are stored. Now, I learned that navigation is here. Great. I walked all the way and came to navigation. The next game started. Again, I went all across the map. I did a lot of tasks. I got killed many times. Again, I got a task in navigation. I know that I've heard navigation before. It's familiar, but I don't know where it is. Again, I open maps. Again, my working memory takes that information. Again, I go here. But in the third game, I just have to notice that, okay, navigation mein hai, and I directly walk to navigation. What has happened is that this information is now getting stored in my hippocampus. And this conversion from your working memory all the way to your hippocampus is step one of learning. Because if you don't learn, if you don't convert your information from your working memory to your hippocampus, it's just going to be in the moment. Every time you will open maps, oh, navigation is here, very nice, I'll go down. Every time, even the 10th the game you play, the 100th game you play, you will keep having to do that. But because there is a hippocampus, you start to learn, and then you instinctively just know it. So when I ask you what's the name of your school, you just know it because it's stored in your hippocampus. You don't have to open your mobile, search, Google it, right? Now, very interestingly, in the hippocampus, now, and this is a theory, but it is almost a proven theory, there is something called as place cells. And the concept of this, and I've never spoken about place cells before, but the concept of place cells in the hippocampus is that these store memories specific to geography. So if I tell you to close your eyes and imagine getting up from wherever you are, going to your door, opening it, walking out, going to the fridge, picking up something, going to the main living room where the TV is or where the main couch is, sitting there for a while and coming back and sitting back to where you are right now, you are able to visualize that whole cycle without having to get up, without having to actually go there. These are actually stored as memories in your brain. And the theory is that your place cells play a huge role in letting you visualize something. And the more you know a space and the more you know an area, the easier it is for you to navigate it. Now, the importance of place cells is navigation or mental navigation. I'm sorry, Rajveer, that you don't have a refrigerator. I didn't intend to trigger anyone, but yeah. Now, there is no limit. So as far as we know, Ashmit, there is no absolute limit for the information in hippocampus. It is about how well you package it. So the same piece of information can be, to paraphrase it, you can store it as a 2 GB file, or you can compress it into a 1 GB file or a 1 MB file if you're very, very good at compressing. So you can make it into a zip file, which is what all the learning hacks are. So technically there's no limit to what you can remember. It's just how many patterns you create out of it. But what happens now is the first time I played Among Us, I had no clue where to go. So I started off here. Everybody starts off in cafeteria, and then I would end up going here or here or here and feel like I'm in the same place. I don't know the difference. I don't know the difference between med bay or weapons. But the third time you play it, your brain has already created a three-dimensional map in your head. And that is done partly because of the play cells. Partly. There are other areas also. But now when you play, you don't have to actually switch it on. You can play in your head, which is a very important thing, because now it means that you can now practice mentally. Because until you visualize something, you can't practice it. So now when I imagine going to the electric room and then going to the lower engine, I can now start imagining strategies, which before this would have been impossible. I can never strategize something I can't imagine. And I can't imagine something that I don't know. So the first thing you have to do is to know something, and then you have to visualize and imagine it. And this is true of all games, by the way. So I think Srinath was playing us with us, and if I'll ask him how he imagines chess, I'll ask Vidit how they imagine chess, and I'm pretty sure that they don't need a board to visualize the game. I'm pretty sure that they can visualize an entire game just in their heads, because your place cells and your 3D map is so good that it is literally like walking around your house. So when they say rook to c7 or c8, for them it is not that they're seeing something. For them it is a real place that they can walk around and they can manipulate things within a real environment. And that comes because your partly because your place cells have now imbibed that information, right? So what else is there in the maps? Vents. God's sake, for God's sake, there are vents in the map. What happens in vents? To put it very simply, in this whole map, there are these secret connections between rooms. And so there is a connection between your upper engine and the reactor. There is a connection between reactor and lower engine, and there is like a triangular connection between security, medbay, and electrical. Similarly, on the other side, I think there is a connection between your weapons and your navigation, your shields and your navigation, and again there is a triangular connection between cafeteria, this this corridor, and admin. So there is a sort of like a secret connection between different rooms, and this is another level of map building in your head. Because first you have to know the rooms themselves, where they are, how they connect, and then on top of that you have to build another level of connections. Sid acting kind of sus. Yeah, I wasn't venting, I was cleaning them. Yeah, this thing is too deep. Oh, Soham, we are just scratching the surface. Take a deep breath, relax, okay? And yeah, we are just starting out. So whoever thought that this conversation is going away from neuroscience has underestimated both the game, the neuroscience, this channel, and me. Okay, so we are just getting started. All right, all right. This is map building. Apart from, so every time I said partly, place cells is partly responsible. What else is responsible? Let's talk about the third lobe of the brain, which is the parietal lobe. Now, I have mentioned this many times that the parietal lobe is responsible for 3D spatial, 3D mapping. Why is that? How do you know that you are in a room? How do you know how far the door is from you? How do you know how far the ceiling is from you? You know this because at every stage of life, you are constantly getting sensory information all the time, continuously, right now. Everything that you see, touch, hear, taste, smell, all of this is giving you information. Oh wait, Srinath is in the chat. Hold on. Kidhar hai? Srinath. 1 second. Yes. Hello, Srinath. Welcome to the chat. Okay, so I was mentioning stuff about chess. If you have anything to contribute, anything that you want to say, then please tell me. And also, if you guys want to, wait, hang on. If you guys want to join in this conversation, then please let me know in that WhatsApp group, and I'll send you the link. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Back to uh, back to the discussion. Back to the discussion. Where were we? Sensory information. So at every point in your life, you are getting sensory input. So whether you are seeing something, whether you're touching something. Now, so I'll continue with the example of chess and Among Us together. So in chess, all the information is visual. You are not hearing the pieces move. You are not feeling them move. You are only seeing them. But in Among Us, there is a lot more. You are also hearing people talk, and lot more. Matlab, there are just two: visual and auditory. There are games where you have a sensory feedback. So, if for example, if I'm playing on my Xbox, and if I'm running after somebody, I might get sensory feedback, like a haptic feedback, to give me another level of information. It doesn't matter. All this information from different senses, so from your vision, from sound, from touch, all of them enter your brain, and eventually all of them end up in your parietal lobe. Eventually. And your parietal lobe now creates a map, putting everything together. And now you have this idea of where you are, how far are things from you, are you on a chair, are you on the floor. All those things are given to your brain through these five senses. Now if you put your parietal lobe and your hippocampus together, now you can sort of understand. So your parietal lobe will make a 3D view in real time and convey this information to your hippocampus, and there your hippocampus will store it. And this entire 3D map is stored so that later on, when you play that same game again, you don't have to spend the first 10 minutes learning this map, because now you have a file in your hippocampus. You can just open that file, and now that map is open in front of you, and now you are free to put in new information. So maybe the first time I created that map, I didn't put the vents, but the next time I already knew the basic map, so now I can put the vents. The third time I can find small hidey holes to hide in. So when we were playing that, what is that? Where one person hunts down everyone. What is that game? One of the versions. And Tanmay had all these secret places to hide in that I didn't even know existed, because he played it like 100 times. So the first time he played it, he made the basic map. Second time he found out about the vents. The 100th time you realize that, okay, there is this corner where there are just wires and you can hide behind the wires. Now hide and seek, exactly. So all those things will get added much later. In your first game, it is not possible to take in everything. But the more you pay attention and the better you learn, you get to decide whether in your third game or your 100th game, you learn about the hiding places. That depends on you. That depends on how quickly you take in information. One, how quickly you store information in your hippocampus, and how quickly you bring it back, which is called as retrieval, and how quickly you put it back, which is called restorage. And this is how learning happens. All right. Good place to hide is behind the wall in electric. Exactly, Saurabh. I saw that. He did that. And I remember there was one scene where Tanmay was hiding there, and Rider OP was the imposter, and he came into the electric, looked around, couldn't find anyone, and walked out. So maybe it was a combination of the electric and the wiring and the fact that Rider's vision wasn't big enough. So we don't know, but yeah, definitely it's a combination. What else did I learn? I learned about tasks. So now let's talk of tasks. There are tasks in this game, okay? And tasks are mainly done by crewmates. So the crewmates have the job of completing the tasks, and if you complete the tasks before everyone gets killed, the crewmates win. If we are going to talk of the neuroscience of Among Us, we have to talk about the neuroscience of tasks. And it's very interesting because it's almost like each task is designed to teach us a different aspect of the brain. And so I really loved that. The first task that we'll talk about is the wire one. So very simple. 4 colors on one side, 4 colors on the other side, and we have to connect them. You tell me, what parts of the brain do you think we would need to connect wires? Now, I'm sure a lot of you have played the game, and I'm sure none of you thought about what is going on in your brain, but now we are going to talk about it. Tell me, what do you need? What do you need to connect wires? Simple question. Even the Among Us creators are taking notes right now. Parietal lobe, excellent. Parietal lobe, optic lobe, that's called occipital lobe, but great. All right, we need parietal lobe, we need occipital lobe. What else do you need? Wait. Brain, eyes, sure. That's very simple way of putting it. PFC, yes, we need PFC. I'll ask you why though. Sense of colors. So sense of colors comes in occipital lobe. Your occipital lobe is the lobe at the back of your head. Okay. So if this is the brain, the occipital lobe is here. So it is at the absolute back of your head, and this is where your vision happens. So occipital lobe is required for vision, and vision includes everything. So when you say you see something, you are seeing shapes, you are seeing colors, you are seeing movement, right? 3 main things. Basic, absolute basic way of looking at it. You need, so all these 3 is done by occipital lobe. So great, you need occipital lobe. Color mil gaya, shape mil gaya, and movement mil gaya. So you can see the wire go from one end to the other. That is movement. Second is what you said, parietal lobe. You need the parietal lobe because you need to know where is what, right? So occipital lobe will only say ki, okay, this is blue and this is yellow, but how far is blue from yellow? And is blue and yellow on top of each other or side to side? So all these things your parietal lobe will say because it is all part of 3-dimensional. PFC you need, obviously. So your frontal lobe you need because you need to calculate. You need to calculate that, okay, I am at the wiring task and what is my purpose? What am I here for? And you need to have that sense of logic and sequence. So when you pick up the red wire, you know that you have to connect all the wires, but sequence is so important because first you have to pick up the red wire. Then you have to connect the red wire before you pick up the blue wire. What if you pick up the red wire and then you immediately pick up the blue wire? You're not going to get it. So sequence of action is what happens in the PFC. So logic, calculation, sequence of action, all of that happens in the PFC. And finally, like somebody very smartly said, motor cortex. So all games, most games has a component where you have to move your hands because that is the output. Like we talked of input, like we talked of how sensations bring everything in. Ultimately, you have to move your hands. And if you don't move your hands, even if you know everything, even if you have perfect logic, even if you have all the calculation in the world, you're not able to move something, then it's a problem. So motor cortex. Your motor cortex is what actually lets you move your hands and connect it. Cool. This is what happened when you did one task. And how much time does it take? Aranya, Srinath, how much time does it take to do the wire task? 1 second? Less than that? 2 seconds, maybe? And Lavina said, after the task is done, dopamine. Very cool. So I know the people who have been attending my classes. I just know it. So why do you do the task? Why? You see this thing, and so say if you show this thing to somebody who has never played Among Us, do you think they will connect it? Why will they connect it? What is the point? So you will do this because you get dopamine. And I will explain this later for those of you who don't know about dopamine, but yeah, I'll explain this. About 5 to 10 seconds. How does the brain imagine anything? I'll talk about that later. Maximum 5 seconds. I agree. 10 seconds is too much, I think. Yeah, 5 seconds or less. 5 seconds or less. So you just connect it. You don't even think about it. You're just connecting it quickly and just thinking what is the next thing. All right. Next task. What is this? The calibrator thing. Again, what is interesting is that a lot of the same regions will be required here also. So now we are into repetition. You need the occipital lobe. Obviously, you need to see it. You need the parietal lobe. You need to see what is where. You need the prefrontal cortex. You need to calculate. What else do you need? And you need the motor cortex. Sure. What else do you need for the calibrator? Whoever gets it gets to be mod. Guys, my Discord link is in the description. Go and join. Go and join. Concentration, sure, but you need concentration in all the tasks. Parietal lobe, too vague. I want a very specific answer. Reflex, coordination. So okay. Hand-eye coordination is in everything. Okay, so motor cortex is where hand-eye coordination happens. Yes, somebody just said it. Wait. Muskan said sense of timing. Awesome. Muskan, 1 second. Stop chatting, please. Hold on. Muskan gets to be moderator. Timing. Sense of timing. Exactly. Okay. What is this? What are we just talking about? So in your wire task, there is no sense of timing. You don't have to time anything. You can take your time. What happened in the calibrator that was different? You needed timing. And the reason that this is slightly more difficult is that your sense of time is not in any of these areas. And this is a completely different discussion. We will talk about it. It will be called clocks in the brain. Mark your mental calendars for that talk. It will be called clocks in the brain, and we will have it in November. But to give you a gist of it, in the brain, there is an area below the brain here called, what is it called? What is this area called? I'm sorry, I know you guys didn't study and come, but frontal lobe is problem solving. No, not stem, Saurabh. No. So the stem is here. Sorry. The stem is here, and somebody said, Divyam Patel said cerebellum. Excellent. So this is called as cerebellum. And your cerebellum and another area here called as basal ganglia. I won't ask you to remember it too much, it's okay, but basically these two areas, cerebellum and basal ganglia, have everything to do with timing apart from your prefrontal cortex. So your PFC also has a role to play, but mainly it's your basal ganglia and cerebellum. And what is very interesting is that it is these same areas that also help you listen to music. So when you are listening to music, you are constantly timing everything. You're timing the notes, you're timing the sounds, you're timing the rhythm, you're timing all the instruments, you're timing the volume, and every song you hear, your basal ganglia and your cerebellum are working overtime, and so is your PFC. And just because of that, this is a kind of a challenging task, because what you need to do here is you need to figure out the speed of this circling thing, and you have to figure out the speed at which this thing will come here, and at that time you have to click on this button. And so you can't just click on it. You have to first figure out the speed, internalize the speed, and say that, okay, this is moving in, say, 1 cycle per second. And then you have to predict that if it is moving 1 cycle per second, then it will come here in 3, 2, 1. And at that time, your PFC has to tell your motor cortex to press this button. So this is that whole loop. You see it, calculate the movement, figure out the time, tell your PFC has to tell your motor cortex has to press the button. All of that has to happen in a second. How long does it take? How long does it take? This one takes longer, for sure. This one takes like more than 5 seconds, definitely. So yeah, the sound of it fitting, I know. An eternity. Oh man, oh man. Oh man, yeah. So this is what happens in this task. Now it's going to be easy. Now you guys will just figure it out. Okay, this calculator thing, it's just about occipital lobe. You see the numbers, you have to see the pattern, you have to see this, you have to match it, find the digits, sequence. Your PFC will make the sequence, punch it in, motor cortex, done. The asteroid bombing thing, very interesting. Again, there is some timing also here. So spot the asteroid, figure out where it's going, figure out its direction, quickly move the target and press it. And the shields, spot the red one, touch it. So similar loops in everything. Take in information, analyze information, predict, and motor output. Right? Somebody was saying Among Us is a simple game. There is yeah, it's not, it is simple. It is simple because your brain is that good at calculation. Your brain is that good at calculating these things, so it is simple, right? So it is simple, sure, but understanding it is not simple because your brain is not that good at understanding something new. So this is the first time that you're hearing all of these things. So yes, all right. Okay, like this hand up, hold on. Okay, that completes our tasks. How are you liking it so far? We're going to take like a 2-minute break. Let's just talk. Yet we underestimate our capacity. Why card swipe the devil's task? अरे सुहानी भी आ गई, बाप रे, सब लोग इधर ही है. I'm just making all of you mods so that I get to see you when you come up. Watching this makes me feel more intelligent than I'm. Yeah, totally. The idea of just being aware of what is happening in your brain when you do the simplest of things is mind-blowing. And I'll tell you why it is so simple. Okay, somebody said, right, like it is it's super simple and we underestimate it. Don't underestimate it, because this loop, okay, so what the loop that we just described, where you see something, analyze, calculate, predict outcome, and move. Just think of what this means. Think of what this loop means if you were an animal in the jungle. Forget about Among Us. Forget about the game. There is an animal. There is a deer. The deer sees a movement. Okay? The deer sees a pattern. Maybe it is something striped. Something striped in the behind the tree. The deer has to analyze it. Very quickly, the deer has to analyze that what is this? Put it together, calculate what are the odds that something striped was just was a zebra, for example, or a tiger. So if it was a zebra, then what is the outcome? Nothing much. It's okay. It's chill. Zebra will do its own thing. It's a crewmate. The zebra is the crewmate. No problem. But what if it's a tiger? What if it's an imposter? Then what would be the outcome? Not very good. So then the brain will calculate the odds. And very quickly, if it goes even a little bit in the favor of, holy crap, that's a tiger, you have to run. Right? Bhago, exactly. And this loop of seeing or taking in any information, now you could have heard the tiger, you could have smelt the tiger, right? Any sensory information is fine. You get an information, you quickly calculate it, make a prediction, judge the outcome, and move in response to the prediction. This loop is so important. Like, this is what survival is built on. We are here today because our ancestors decided to get really good at survival, and survival is built on calculation and movement. So there is a reason why we are able to do this better than understand it, because the part of your brain that is doing it has been developing for the last 1 million years, and the part of your brain that is analyzing and understanding this information is developing since the last 2 months, since I started teaching you neuroscience. Okay, so that is why there is a difference. The deer is sus. Deer forget to vent. Oh my god. Yeah. All right. Now, all of what I told you, right? Everything, abhi tak jo bhi hua, this is actually common to most games, or all games in fact. Whether you're playing PUBG, whether you're playing FIFA, whether you're playing, Pacify, it doesn't matter. All games need to have these components. You need to be able to see stuff, calculate, make decisions, learn the rules, plan, execute outcome, learn it better. You keep improving. This is common to all games. What is so special about Among Us? Why Among Us? इसमें क्या है मतलब? What is so different? The idea of Among Us is that it has a lot of decision making, and the interesting thing is that all games are decision making, and everything that we discussed right now was decision making. There are two types of decision making. One is personal decision making. What do I do? Which is what most games function. So what do I do, and how should I play? But in Among Us, there is also social decision making. And this is what makes it much more like real life. Because real life is exactly this. It is a combination of personal decision making and social decision making. So, what you want to eat for breakfast or what you want to order for dinner is a personal decision. You can order whatever you want. But if you are staying with someone, if your partner or your parents or your brother or sister doesn't like a particular food, then it becomes a social decision making. So the difference between personal and social is that as soon as somebody else's opinion matters in your decision, it's a social decision making. And this is why Among Us is interesting, because it has everything to do with game theory. And game theory at its best, we can say. So what happens here is, in social decision making, there are a few fundamental aspects that are there in all of it. All social decisions have these fundamental aspects. One is trust. And immediately you understand how this has a role to play in Among Us. Okay, 1 second. I'm just gonna quickly run through chat. Queen deserves to be mod. Wait. Who? Queen in the north. All right. Is Queen in the north play along with them? Okay. I think that you guys are all following it. Is there any questions? Yahan tak? Okay. Is there a correlation between the number of sectors of the brain used and how much you find the thing interesting? Actually, yes, there is. Because the more areas you use in the brain, the more real it becomes. So if you're just listening to something, whereas if you're listening and seeing something, whereas if you're listening, seeing and experiencing something in your real world, then it becomes more and more real, which is the difference between listening to a song and watching the video of the song on YouTube and attending a concert. You are using more and more areas of the brain, and so it gets more and more real, and so your dopamine release gets more and more. So yeah, that's what happens. Okay, coming back to game theory. Why is trust important? What happens in trust? Now in Among Us, what happens is, suppose there are say 6 people or 6 people left, and one of them is an imposter, and one of them found a body. Okay, so there is a body here, and one of them saw it and they reported it. So then immediately everybody ends up back in the cafeteria. So there is player 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. All of them are huddled. Now one of them is a one of them is a imposter, but nobody knows this. So here what happens is, they all have to start communicating. They all have to start sharing information, and every one of them has a question of, can I trust the other person? Of course, except the imposter. The imposter knows that I am the imposter. Everybody else is suspecting everyone else at some level, but there are different grades of sus. So you trust some people more and you trust some people less. And this happens because trust has a huge evolutionary impact. Why do you trust someone? Why does player 6 trust player 1, saying player 1 is absolutely okay, but player 4 on the other hand, I have a very strong feeling that player 4 is the imposter. Why is this? What makes player 1 different from player 4? Now, there are a few things, there are a few reasons why a person will trust somebody else. In the real world, one of the most interesting reason is appearance. So as soon as you see somebody, their facial structure, the color of their skin, the whole pattern that they give you, everything that you see is put together and you decide whether or not to trust them. And what is very interesting is that this pattern will keep changing across time. So what was trustworthy at one point will not be trustworthy later. What is trustworthy now may not be trustworthy a year later. So the same people or the same pattern is at different levels of trust as time goes on. Like Muskan just said, behavior based on past experiences. Absolutely. In the game, you can't see appearance unless you're on a Zoom call, in which case you can actually look up and see somebody's expressions. But I don't think that is supposed to be part of the official game. What can you see? You can see in-game behavior, and you can hear audio. When there is a group meeting, you can hear their voice. And this information is what you use to form a like a caricature, like an impression of somebody, which is why you get statements like, I saw you just standing outside electric without doing anything. What were you doing there? It's just a character. standing in front of a room, but somebody else comes in, they sees this in-game behavior, and they are filled with suspicion, because for them it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit in with what they perceive as trustworthy behavior. And this is different for everyone. We all have our own versions of what is trustworthy behavior, and you will notice that even here and there I stop saying in the game. It's not in the game. It is everywhere, at your school, at your college, at your family. Everywhere you go, you have your own version of trustworthy behavior, and every time someone behaves in a way that is not fitting with that trustworthy behavior, that person is sus. So parents will sus their children when they come home late. We will sus our friends when they go off with another friend to talk, and they're not telling us what they are saying. We will sus, you get the idea. I don't want to give more and more examples, but you get the idea. Every time somebody behaves in a way that doesn't fit in with our version of trustworthy behavior, they are sus. And second is voice, so audio. Now you already know about the temporal lobe, but in your temporal lobe there is an area called as the auditory cortex, and this is where all the sounds are heard, and the auditory cortex will analyze it, send it to both your prefrontal cortex to understand it, but interestingly it will also send it to your limbic system. And your limbic system is what contains all your emotions. Now, if someone is talking in a way that is very soothing, then your limbic system is calm. Specifically, an area in the limbic system called as amygdala. And amygdala is, you can think of it like the alarm in your head. So every time anything is sus, or in real life anything is threatening, your amygdala starts going like siren, like red lights. Your amygdala starts to go, okay, this is not fitting in, this pattern is not fitting in with what I think should be trustworthy. Amygdala is going all over the place, and the more sus or the more threatening somebody's behavior is, the more strongly your amygdala is getting activated. On the other hand, if somebody's voice or somebody's behavior is fitting in with your version of trustworthy behavior, amygdala activation goes down. And as your amygdala activation goes down, what is going up is oxytocin. The more oxytocin there is, the less your amygdala gets activated, and the more you trust. So if you have done a task together with someone, what happens is there is bonding. At its highest level, it's like a mother and child, but at the lowest level, it is for 5 minutes on a computer screen and you are both shooting asteroids together, but it's fine. If you do an activity together, there is bonding. With bonding, there is oxytocin. Oxytocin, jitna zyada hota hai, utna you trust. And like somebody said, you can fall in love with your fellow teammates. If your oxytocin is through the roof, you may even defend someone. Just like a mother would defend a child, at a much lower level, if your oxytocin is through the roof with somebody like, nahi, ye ho hi nahi sakta, this person cannot be the imposter, you will end up defending somebody or even putting yourself at risk, which is the saddest thing. So yesterday, the last game, I had zero suspicion on Aranya. Zero suspicion. And I was like, we did tasks together. We ho hi nahi sakta. I voted out Haley. Aranya was the imposter. It was tragic. And what I felt was a, a lot of oxytocin going down suddenly. So till that time, oxytocin was here. Ki, no way, I trust Aranya. She could not have been the imposter. And then there is this rude awakening, and then my oxytocin just goes down. And this is the sense of betrayal. What happens here? When you feel that sense of betrayal, Alexa, play the Bewafa song. Cut gaya, I swear. In your brain, there is an area called as insula. What does the insula do? Insula is an old area, okay? It's not new. It's not newly developed like the prefrontal cortex. It's been there for a while. What insula does is, imagine a dog sniffing around for food, and he sniffs at a packet but doesn't eat it. Quickly just turns away and walks the other way, because that dog smelled something very bad, like it's been like a dead animal, for example, and that's been dead for a while. It smells very bad, and your sense of smell actually from your nose, sorry, that's a very bad nose, this, from your nose, the sense of smell goes up and ends up in the insula, and your insula decides that this is not good for you, this is disgusting, and I need to avoid this. And I might even make a face, like a disgusted face, so that my other teammates, like my other members, can now see my face, because it's like a form of communication. They can see my face, and they will also know that this should be avoided, so that not everybody has to make that same mistake in order to learn it. I might even feel nauseous, because what if I have eaten a little bit? I need to throw it up, right? So you end up feeling disgusted, you feel like I should avoid this thing, I feel nauseous, I feel sick. When there is a sense of betrayal, it activates my insula. And and you get all those things. You get that sense of, this is the worst, this is the absolute worst. How can I have fallen for this? How can I have been so stupid? And I have to avoid this at any rate, which is why it is a little difficult to trust that person for a while. Aranya, I trust you completely now, but for a while your insula is too active, and you get that sense of, nahi baba, ye nahi, ye, you have to sort of stay away from this person. How do you trust someone when you see them, hear them, whatever? How do you trust someone is that after you take in all the information, there is an area here, absolutely at the tip, like sort of where your third eye is, which is interesting, called as the frontopolar area. And just like the third eye is supposed to see into the future, your frontopolar is the part of the brain that does calculation of the future. And this is how you pick your partner, this is how you pick your job, and this is also how you learn to trust someone, because you figure out that this person is going to be helpful for me, this person is going to be a good person for me to have in my life. And there's another area called the V area, which calculates the value of someone. So you put these two together and you figure out that you trust them. This is a valuable person now, and they will continue to be valuable later, and so I trust this person. And This is why betrayal is so bad, because it actually makes you question your own value system, and it makes you question your ability to calculate the future, both of which are very, very important for survival. So imagine if you are not able to calculate how much value something is for you. And imagine if you're not able to calculate what is going to happen tomorrow or day after tomorrow or next year. There is a sense of loss of hope. There is a sense of, I don't know what's going to happen. My future is bleak. And that is not a good situation to be in. And it's especially not a good situation to be in because of a game. But unfortunately, that is what happens. That's what Aranya did to me. And I'm glad she's here. I hope that she is, she's feeling, what do you call, remorse at what she did. How can you know? How could I have known that Aranya was the imposter? I didn't, but how could I have known? How is it possible? I can't read minds, except that I can. If I had tried, there is a separate area in the brain specifically dedicated to reading minds. And as interesting as this sounds, as magical as this sounds, I don't know if Suhani is still around. Suhani, but yeah, this is how you do mind reading. You look at someone, and this usually works with people whose faces you can see, but you look at someone, you see their face, you see their expressions, and all that information goes in. There's a separate area in your brain that is dedicated just for facial recognition. It's called Fusiform Cortex. It's just for faces, nothing else. Just look at a face and understand the face. See if they're familiar, see if what they are seeing. It is very closely connected to your emotions. So you can judge what emotions they are going through. And it is this whole concept is called theory of mind. I don't know how many of you have heard of this, but theory of mind is when, as you grow, a 1-year-old child doesn't even know that they have a mind. At 3 years old, you know that, okay, I have a mind, but do you have a mind? So if I'm seeing something, are you seeing the same image, or are you seeing it from a different angle? By 5 years old, you know, okay, I'm seeing the front of something. So that doesn't mean that you are also seeing the front of something. You are seeing the back of something, which means that my perspective and your perspective are different. We are all seeing the world from different angles. By 9 years old, your brain is very well developed. And now you know that just because I can't see something doesn't mean that you can't see something. So if there's a screen between me and that object, it could still mean that you can see it. Whereas before, you wouldn't have been able to make that calculation. At 7, I think before 5 or 6, you wouldn't have been able to make that calculation. If you take this spectrum forward, what is happening is you are now able to, if this is you and this is someone else, you are now able to get out of your own brain and put yourself in somebody else's brain. And now you are able to see the world from their eyes, which is theory of mind. And this is a part of everyone. Everyone grows up to do this, but not everyone takes it all the way. So as you go on developing this skill, what happens is that you get to see things from other people's mind more and more and more. You get to think like them, and the good word for it is empathy, which is basically that I empathize with you, which means I get where you're coming from, which means I know what you're going through. But the cool way to look at it is I can read your mind. And this is a superb skill to have. Unfortunately, you can't have this without this. So empathy is a superb skill to have, especially in Among Us, because you are literally, if you are good at it, you can see somebody's face and understand what they're doing. Very useful in poker, very useful in a lot of life situations, right? Now, last point. Okay, बहुत हो गया. I think I've talked a lot. Last point, and very important. Why is it more fun to play as an imposter? You tell me. Can we agree that it is more fun to play as an imposter? Uh, Isha Vitalani, I hope Sid implements this to events in time. Yeah, vent. Oh, lying is fun. Yeah, okay, all right. Why is imposter more fun? Lying is fun, sure. What else? Srinath would disagree. Srinath, is that true? I hate playing as imposter. Oh man. Okay. Yes, you get to kill. All right. Okay, you get to kill. Too much enthusiasm for that. Sorry. Pleasing killing. Getting for right the ending. No task. Killing the. Okay. Clearly a lot of fans of killing. Clearly a lot of fans. All right. Like to play crewmate because you know more or see the big picture. Brilliant. No more see big picture. Okay. I mean, these two are sort of the same thing, but yeah. The perks, mega dopamine, except for Srinath. Okay, so everybody knows that. Okay, Srinath hates being imposter. Looking on people, turning on each other. Excellent. Okay. Watching others say fight. Okay. Gaining trust because you're unique, outsmarting others, knowing how things would end. All right, awesome. I think Felix, it is like my old psychology teacher. I like all parts of that sentence except old. There's literally no plan, just kill and win. Reward system. I'm guessing it's more fun because the odds are low. All right, closing doors. So I just think of Tanmay when that happens now. Okay. Why is it more fun? You guys actually got it. The first reason is that killing is fun. Why is killing fun? Because if you are not killing, then you're being killed. And nothing feels more helpless than you're just nicely doing your task like a good crewmate, and somebody just comes and stabs you in your head with their tongue, or like a blade that comes out from their mouth, or takes out a gun and shoots you twice, and you're just hovering like a ghost. Yeah, sorry, I think I just tripped out for a second, but this is so you get a super helpless feeling, right? So when you are a crewmate, there is nothing you can do to stop the imposter from killing you once that imposter is in the room and going to kill you. There is an absolute loss of control. Can't help it. Nobody has gotten killed and felt yes. There is no control. You have no say in the matter. The imposter will kill. You can only hope that others will catch him or her. More likely nowadays, it's always her. But Sid went into poetry. Okay, that was very clever. I'm not sure if you meant the vent thing, but yeah, that's awesome. It's more fun to kill because you have more control. You have more control over what your own actions or your own sort of destiny or whatever. The second is, like you said, knowing more, seeing the big picture, and lying. Sure, like we can combine lying with this. We've heard the phrase knowledge is power. So when the game starts and there are, say, 10 people, everyone is in a doubt. Everyone is in a doubt except the two people who are imposters. So those two guys or girls, as it is more likely, know that we are the imposters. We know what we have to do. Everybody else is in that slight limbo of not knowing enough, not having enough information, and not knowing is a huge threat. So right off the bat, everybody else starts with a little bit of amygdala activation. Right from the word go, they don't know. They don't know who's going to kill them. There is that sense of being hunted, and there is an immediate amygdala activation for the crewmates, and they will go and do their tasks and everything, but there's that sense of impending something's going to happen, something's going to happen. Whereas the imposters have that sense of control, and that is because of knowledge. And even if there are more crewmates, which is the interesting thing, even if there are 8 crewmates and 2 imposters, because of this not knowing, you don't know which 8, and so there is a sense of loss of control. How do you counteract this? The only counteract to lack of knowledge is communication, which is why in that team meeting it is so important that you communicate properly. Because why is there so much fear, why is there so much confusion? Because of lack of information, or rather lack of common information. And every time there is lack of common information, it will always benefit imposter. So the less everyone knows, the better it is for the imposter. The more everybody shares information that I was here, I saw them do this, I saw them do this, the worse it is for the imposter, usually. And this is true, again, not just for the game, but also in real life. Whether it is in politics, whether it is in your corporate life, everywhere, the more information is flowing, the better it is for everybody except people who are looking to take advantage of chaos. And this is like a very beautiful thing that this game brings out, like how similar it is to things that we see around you. And you can also see how in your global stage, in politics, how people are going out of their way in making sure that people are in echo chambers. So if, say, this is the world, and if I am an imposter, I don't want everyone communicating with each other, because then they'll immediately find out that I'm the imposter. So then what do I do? If I'm the imposter, what do? I will create small echo chambers. I will say that you guys will only talk to each other. Don't look at what is happening here. Okay, those guys are lying. Those guys are trying to hurt you. These guys are trying to kill you. And so if these guys believe them, then these guys will try and kill them. And this guy, I will say to this guy that, see, player number 1 tried to kill you, so now you should try to harm player number 1. And so this thing becomes real. And these guys try to fight, these guys try to fight. And the only person who benefits is the imposter. And this is sort of what the idea is, that communication makes it better for the crewmates. One last note on dopamine. Okay, here we'll take a second off. Just see what is happening. Sorry, I'm late. Everything is political, my boy. Himanshi, yes. Hey guys, like the screen. It's 940 likes already. Can you make it 1K, please? Can you make it 1K? And neuroscience of live stream, dopamine rush on killing. Yeah. So just to be clear, I'm not targeting at any one particular thing, but this is how humanity works. So this is how we all function, because let me tell you something very interesting. For your brain, whether you're playing Among Us, or whether you're in your family, or whether you're at your job, or whether you're talking of politics, or whether you're talking of religion, or whether you're talking of sexuality, it doesn't matter to your brain. Your brain will still do the same things. It will take in information, it will calculate risk, it will make a plan, and it will act. Your prefrontal cortex is what sets the context and says that, hey guys, this is just a game, and hey, this is very serious. Okay, this is not a game. Your prefrontal cortex sets the context, but for the rest of your brain, it's just information, it is just data, it doesn't matter. Okay, which is why if somebody can fool your prefrontal cortex into thinking that something is more real than something else, then that is a problem, right? So then that's why you have to keep using your prefrontal cortex. Okay, dopamine, most important part of the game and most important part of life, and a great way to end it. What happens? You are playing a game, any game, let's say in Among Us. I am the imposter. I am nicely walking around. So this is the shields, and see how well I know the map now. And I'm nicely walking, and I see that there is a, wait, what is this? This is comms, okay? And I see that there is someone here. And this guy is just, doing his job, doing his task. I'm walking, peeking, hello, die. Okay, you could visualize that, right? Like you just saw it happening, right? That is what happened. I think I killed Karan like that yesterday. It was super fun. What happened in my head? I had set a goal to kill, to win the game, right? I had set the goal that I have to kill. Now, as I'm walking around, in my brain, let me draw it here. Let me draw it big because this is really important. In my brain, this is where the game starts. And this is my dopamine level. And my dopamine level is going up as the game starts. Now here, I kill someone, right? And my dopamine just shoots up because I have done it. I have done what I was supposed to do. What is interesting is that my dopamine should spike at the point of the kill, but usually what happens is my dopamine spikes just before. And this is what is called as anticipation of reward. So my dopamine is completely at its peak right here. When I enter the room and I see that there's nobody here and I'm just about to press that kill button, that's where my dopamine is at its peak, because I'm anticipating the reward. As soon as the kill is done and I'm out and I'm walking, my dopamine is going down, because now my amygdala is getting activated because, oh, did somebody see me? Did somebody catch me? Will I get away with it? So my amygdala is getting activated, right? And the interesting thing is that, and this is where the game difficulty matters. Suppose I kill all 10 people, right? Me, one imposter, so all 9 people. Amazing kick, amazing thrill. In the next game, again, I'm imposter, I kill 9 people. I kill 9 people. Eventually what will happen is the next time I approach a kill, my dopamine is not going to go till there. My dopamine is only going to go till here. Because now this skill is not very uncertain. In fact, it is becoming certain. So if the reward is certain, so suppose if I play and win every game, I'll start getting bored. And that bored, what you say bored, is basically that, yeah, the first time I played my dopamine was here, but now my dopamine is here. What is this? This game is boring. But as soon as you start playing with people who are much better, suddenly your kill rate drops. It's not 100% anymore. Maybe you're killing 50% of the time or 60% of the time. Sometimes you're killing 20% of the time. Now what happens is my dopamine is going up, but I don't know, will I be able to do it? Will I be able to kill? Will I not be able to kill? I don't know. And so my dopamine is going much higher. So this is what unpredictability of reward does to you. Which is why all games are, you have to play with people who are at that right level. Because as soon as you are very good and the people you're playing with aren't that good, you don't get that kick. You don't get that thrill. You have to play with people who are as good or slightly lesser or slightly more. Because what if I try to kill somebody 100 times and I kill 0% of the time? 0%. I try 100 games and I don't win once. Again, no dopamine. Obviously, nothing. It's only frustration. So now you are frustrated. So basically, there is like this layer where too easy and you're bored, too much and you're frustrated, and that right amount is where this game is OP. And so this is why gaming is addictive, because all video games, if you will have noticed, once you start off at level 1, your games will only give you the monsters, your opposition is at your level. And as you level up, and if you are at level 15, you get level 15 monsters or level 16 monsters. You don't get level 100 monsters when you're level 20, because then you'll be frustrated. And when you're level 90, you won't get level 2 monsters, because then you'll be bored. And this is called gamification. It's there in everything, all games, everything, even social media is gamification. As you level up, it gets more and more interesting, because they are constantly playing with your dopamine levels. All right, guys, Goldilocks zone, exactly, you know. All right, okay. I think that's it, guys. I think that's it. I hope that you enjoyed the discussion. I hope that you liked it. I wanted to try this out. I wanted to have a discussion, just me, iPad, you guys, talk about neuroscience. It's super fun when I have guests over, but I wanted to know if I can have fun just like this. And yeah, you guys are awesome. I really enjoyed today's discussion. Aranya, thank you so much for being here, man. It's super nice to have you in the chat. You have questions, of course, go on. Wait, hang on, just give me a second. What I'll do is I'll just I'll just put it in the group if you want to join. You want to join? Aranya, if you want to join, then just say yes. And yeah. Does color of in-game character influence decision making? I don't think so. I don't think so. I can come audio if you want. So I'll put it in that group. I'll put it in that Among Us group, and you can just. Mm, mm. Yeah, Srinath. Of course, invitation extends to you too. You should all play Among Us. I know. I agree. I think so. Let's do that. Let's play. Oh, awesome! You've liked. Likes have reached 1.1, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Play with members. Let's do that. Let's play tonight. Let's play tonight. Uh, this was super fun. This was super fun, guys. 24.9, 25. Oh, you know what happened? Yesterday I had reached 25K, and then today morning I woke up at 28. No, 24.8, and I don't know why, but yeah, I was wondering about that. Play with subs. Time is fast when we sleep. Vaibhav, I don't know. Vaibhav, I think you've asked this question before, and I didn't understand what that meant. Neuroscience of Vice is so awesome. Vinu, thank you so much. YouTube being an imposter. Yeah, dude. I mean, I felt really weird. Like, how do 200 people unsubscribe? Like, what is this? Oh, check WhatsApp. Okay. Wait, what? Uh, Waiting for the link to join. I put it in the group. One second. Yeah. I checked. I shared the link. Please share his notes on Discord. Yeah, dude. I will. I'll share it on that notes and resources channel. Oxytocin lowered. Check Anand Gandhi's speeches about gamification. Oh, wait. Admit him. Alright. Hello. Here yet. Dopamine rush on seeing someone kill. Hi.
Hi. Oh, one sec. Your audio
Hello.
is still in the background. Give me a second. Hi. That was so informative and that was so fun to learn about.
Thank you. I'm so glad you were part of it. I loved seeing your comments on chat.
Honestly, it was so interesting and so much so that I literally I was eating dinner and I kept this on just so I could pay attention.
Yeah.
But I have 3 questions now.
Okay. Go on.
Okay.
Wait.
So the first thing I wanted to ask is when it comes to this game, very often I feel like it kind of rewards lying when you're imposter, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think there are many situations in our real life where we get that reward of lying or as quickly as we do as as winning gives us, right? So, when one of the things I think Tanmay has tweeted about is how when your crewmate, there is no reward system that benefits crewmates when they either guess who the imposter is. And I think he even brought it up yesterday where he was like, let's do a, point system. So I would like to know that what goes behind the mentality of, when an imposter wins the game, how the brain responds to it as compared to if you lose as a crewmate.
Yeah.
Secondly, I would like to, should we go one by one?
No, I think that will be better because these are very interesting questions. The idea of lying, it's very cool because you only get a reward if you are not caught.
Yeah.
And that is not very unlike real life. It's pretty much the same thing. And just like in real life, in the game, if you are caught, the penalty is quite high.
Yeah. Oh, of course it is, right? Which is why we feel the need to commit to a lie as much as we do.
Exactly. But then the high, the thrill of lying and getting away with it, there is so much dopamine because, okay, so I've never talked about this before, but the only thing that feels better than just dopamine is dopamine plus amygdala. And this is just my theory, okay? It's not like a neuroscience theory, but I feel that if you're having that sense of threat and then you come out of it, it's like a booster. It's just your dopamine is through the roof.
Of course, and you're rewarding yourself, right?
Yeah.
That like you were in an already compromising situation.
Yeah.
But one of the things I wanted to mention when you asked why we like to be imposter, I think one of the things that came to me a little bit later, one of the reasons I find a little bit of comfort in being imposter is because I'm not scared of being killed anymore.
Correct.
So even if I'm not an effective imposter, I'm saying at least I'm not a dead crewmate.
Exactly.
So I think
that sense of hunting, that sense of being hunted.
Yeah.
Oh man. So and also that constant sense of every time somebody else walks into the room,
that like aloneness. So true.
And what's really unfortunate is that at least I start. So if say I'm in electrical, which is the worst, and anytime somebody comes in, I start judging their personality. So if Suhani comes in and I remember, yaar, Susha to maar degi, yaar. Susha is that kind of person.
Susha's heartless. Okay, yeah, so that's so true. I feel like one of the things is we aren't as scared of like the consequences as compared to when we're crewmate. We already spoke about like the whole reward system where we like kind of reward ourselves for lying and getting away with it. And another thing that I feel like makes it a little like one of the reasons I don't like being imposter is, okay, a lot of us lie to a certain extent in our daily lives, right? But one of the things about playing this game is that it makes it almost immediate for people who you're playing with to know if you're lying, because the game ends, right? So I think like that's one of the things that makes me uncomfortable, that if I was to lie and people would find out 3 weeks later that I was imposter, I would not be as just doing it. But it's about the fact that it's an immediate reaction, immediate consequence of people finding out you've been fibbing for the last 20 minutes. Right?
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. There are two things that are super interesting in what you just asked. Okay. One is there is this. It's a cognitive bias called as temporal discounting. So what that means is that if say this is now, then and if this is like 3 weeks later, or say 5 years later, and this is the next minute, then what cognitive temporal discounting does is that all my rewards are much higher here. Even if it's the same reward 3 weeks or 5 years later, it will be much lesser. Right? So 100 rupees now is better than 100 rupees after 1 year.
Of course. Right? Because it affects the value we see in it, right?
Yeah. So as the further away it goes, the less value it is. And the risks now is much higher than that same risk later. So if you're going to get killed today, you would probably not do something. But because smoking kills you after 10 years,
you're willing
to do it.
Oh my gosh.
Because your brain is unable to your brain is physically unable to calculate that risk. See, what is that risk? Dekha jayega. You can't calculate that.
Yeah. You don't see the immediate consequence of it, so you're willing to put it off, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what climate change is also built on, right? Like you are not able to calculate ki kya hoga. When it is there, we will be ready.
Because it's tangible, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's like a superb thing.
Sorry, Sid, before we go on, everyone's like saying justice for Susha. Honestly, the only reason we said that is because Suhani is a ruthless killer, and that's what makes her a good imposter when she's playing. So like, I don't even feel like you should be proud of her if anything. Justice, but anyway, go on.
Exactly. So I mean, doesn't that make her a very good player?
It does, exactly, right? Which is why we feel like kind of threatened the minute she enters.
Exactly, because justice for Susha should have been like if I said, oh, if I say Susha, I have no threat. Like, ye to kuch nahi karegi. That would have been
Yeah,
justice for Susha.
so true, so true.
Srinath is saying ruthless and efficient. Susha merciless.
Absolutely. Okay, and then one thing I wanted to ask you is we've been streaming now for like 3 or 4 nights.
Yeah.
And I think every evening there is one person that initiates the message of, are we playing today?
Yeah.
And I feel to a certain extent, because we play for such long hours, I feel like we've kind of grown addicted to the rush that the game gives us, whether it's losing or winning. So do you think that to a certain extent that even our habit of playing is rooted in the fact that we depend on this game to give us some kind of happy hormone?
Personal attacks, but okay. No, so there are two, hamare liye to at least there are two feedbacks, because we are just playing, sure. But tell me, would we get the same thrill if you were not playing on live stream?
Interesting. Okay, so I feel like, say, this would be different answers for us, because I feel like when streamers get super chats, that also gives them more of a motivation to stream more often, which is something that I haven't formed that connection yet, right?
Sure, but to be fair,
but there is still that sense of the back and forth.
To be fair, Aranya, if there are 6 live streams happening, you are getting more Aranya OP in the chat than the live streamers themselves. So there is plenty of dopamine for you.
I mean, I'm just that like there are these mechanisms, right, that keep us coming back, streaming, staying up till 4.
Yeah.
I want to know how much of it is just the science of how this game makes us feel.
It is. So there are so many things that make us feel good about this. That sort of outweighs the obvious bad. Because that sleep cycle is gone for a toss, but then there is a reason why we come back, and that it's not just one line, it's not just the game, for sure.
Of course.
Yeah, so it's also the fact that
how much of it is the game. Because see, for example, Sid, before we even started playing together online, I used to play with my Discord, okay?
Yeah.
And we would never like stream or anything. It was just the people on my Discord. But even then, when that wasn't that element of people watching us, we would play for hours at an end. I'd join and be like, okay, I'm only playing 2 games. But then I'd look back and it'd been 3 hours that I'd been playing. Which is why I feel like to a certain extent, it is definitely the game that makes you like stay in this. Like if you lose, you're like, now I want to win.
Yeah.
Right? And then you're like, oh, now I want to be imposter. So I feel like it's a constant circle.
Correct. Interesting. It's like we are literally uncovering layer by layer. So what if you're playing with absolute strangers online? You don't know them. It's not your Discord.
Yeah.
Then would you still have the same kick?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly. So now we are sort of building it up. It's not just the game.
It's also it's the layers that come with it, right?
Exactly. So you're playing it with people you know. That is layer 2. Yeah. The stream, the game itself, sure, dopamine. People you know, another layer of dopamine. People you know on a live stream, another layer. Getting super chats on that live stream. It's like a dopamine pyramid.
Wow. That explains why like most of us are just coping with the pandemic this way. I had one last question.
Where else will you get your dopamine from? Yeah, tell me.
The last thing I wanted to ask is, again, going back to the thing that Tanmay had like spoken about, the little point system he created. What would be like a realistic way for us to, for whatever updates, like, they're working on updating Among Us and they've already started like, changing those things, especially like small things like, they've made it a little more friendly for people who are colorblind and stuff like that.
Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah, okay, really nice. But
Suhani has just sent a super chat saying this is the first time I've heard the adjectives ruthless, merciless and heartless for myself. I need some dopamine chat. Susha OP. Yeah, exactly. Susha OP. A lot of hearts for Susha, for sure.
Lots of hearts, because when she's imposter, she is heartless.
A lot of heart, she needs it.
No, yeah, Susha. And
So
yeah,
I have
it's so
to.
lovely.
Can I just thank Swani for inviting me into this group? I mean, so I really appreciate that. So thank you so much. It was super fun.
Even Susha made me feel comfortable about joining.
Yeah.
Every time I've joined so far, I've been like, oh my god, are you sure I'm not like inconveniencing someone by joining? She's like, just come.
Yeah, I know. So that's super nice of her, and yeah, it's not ruthless at all. Outside the game, not ruthless at all. For sure.
Outside the game, though, absolutely not. But it's it's almost the character she puts on when she's becoming.
Yeah. So you were saying, you were asking a question.
What would be a way that they could incentivize the game for the crewmates the way that they have incentivized it for the imposters? Is there any maybe even the chats would have some interesting perspective?
What about clues?
Ooh. Maybe they play like a little replay from one of the cameras or something.
Maybe. Or something as simple as adding another layer of difficulty like footprints.
Oh, like if you could see the color of the feet for a few seconds and then it disappears.
Correct. Or maybe like there is one corridor which has water and the imposters will leave footprints after that.
Oh, interesting. Like if it's a group of people, if they're all like, say there's an emergency or a sabotage, everyone's rushing towards something and you see
or vice versa. Imposters don't leave footprints. Like vampires don't have reflections. Imposters don't leave footprints. It could be so interesting, for sure. Something like that can happen.
And I'm looking forward to seeing like how they keep, upping the ante.
Yeah. Damn, now I want to see this. Now I want to see this.
But we should like send this to the creators.
Yeah, we should.
But like one of the things I feel like was so interesting to learn of is you mentioned that there's a certain part of our brain that has like face recognition and like it affects how we perceive people, how like trustworthy we think they are and stuff. In a situation where the game, ideally you can't even see people's faces, so that is usually rendered like irrelevant when you're playing online. But it's the way we play that gives us that that little gateway to see each other respond, to see Suhani when she makes a reaction, or like when Raido or like Karan says something. It's all those elements we get, right? But when we're playing public and like on the public groups and all that stuff, where we can't see these people, what are the different defining factors that affect our trust with these random people?
The two things I mentioned. So when you can't see, what can you take in? Like what information do you have? Like character behavior.
It's a communication, right? Like the open communication during the discussion time.
Correct.
And then it's the idea that you think they're doing tasks and you hope they have your back, right?
Yeah, like how I thought for most of the game.
But honestly, I think one of the fun things about Among Us is that being imposter and being crewmate both have unique pros and cons, have their own quirks, have their own drawbacks.
Correct. So that is fundamentally gamification, because if you make it very lopsided, it's not going to work. So in fact, I think they did make it a little lopsided, because I think crewmates should get a little bit more fun. Being able to catch an imposter before they commit a crime would be a great kick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, with its own penalties also. So if you before anybody's been killed, if you just throw somebody out, then there should be a penalty also. But then that's what raises the ante. That's what
raises the bar, right? In fact, there's a variation that I've seen on a ton of people's chats. When I'm like on these people's chats, they say that play a game where the confirm ejects are on, and the minute you'll vote out a crewmate, the game ends.
Wow.
So you don't even get to go through the process of figuring it out. the minute, so then that way that forces you to be a lot more sure. It's not like you're just going off.
That makes the game even more in favor for the imposter actually.
Imposters, exactly. But it falls, the onus comes on the crewmates to be super mindful when they're voting, which happens very often. They're like, I'm sus of XYZ. And then everyone's like, okay. And then we vote someone out, you know. But when we put the weightage on it like that, where if we get even one crewmate out, we're all ending, we're all losing. I think we would have a lot more communicative discussions.
Correct. So we can have that same effect if you increase the limit to 2. Same effect will happen.
Yeah.
You would definitely be mindful. Yeah. We should do that next stream.
Next stream, we'll do that.
Yes.
This was so wonderful, Sid. Thank you so much. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. And I love the little visuals, especially for me. Like, I'm an ADD baby. So, like, having visual representation of everything just made it so much easier to understand.
Same here. I mean, this is how I study, because I can't study unless something is moving somewhere. So, I totally get
like the colors and the little brain, and you're highlighting the parts of the brain, everything. It's so much easier to understand. Thank you for answering my questions.
Thank you for joining in. Yes, thank you for joining in.
Thank you. I'll see you on the chat.
Yes. All right. Abhishek Singh, can you... Oh, I really like her. Abhishek, I will give you a shout out. I will give you. Abhishek, you are an awesome person, I'm sure. Aranya just announced it. Queen in the North, cheese base. Acha, chess base, sorry. What am I saying? Srinath, I want to talk to you about chess, but ठीक है, वो बाद में बात कर लेते हैं. Suhani still in the chat. Suhani, thank you for being such a good sport. You're awesome. Thank you for inviting me on to this group. I had so much fun. Have you all, if you all joined the Discord channel, wait, it's with its birthday? Damn. All right, awesome. Okay, let's wish him. Cheese-based pizza. Yeah, sorry about that. With its birthday on 24th October. Super cool. Okay, cool. All right, so now what we'll do is, we can, how do you guys want to play? You tell me. The stream has ended officially. We are done with our neuroscience of Among Us. I hope that this was fun for everyone. It was yeah, we should call him, right? We should actually call him on the stream. Wait a minute, I'll see. Yeah. Okay, let's see. I've added it. Is Among Us today. Citizen Imposter, you did an awesome job. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Strategy Among Us tonight. Let's play Among Us tonight. Yeah. Let's do that. So what I'll do is let's end the stream. Let's meet on Discord. Oh, is it 25k? Superb. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Let's meet on Discord and let's play. Yeah, like Aranya said, let's play 2 games and then we'll see. Okay, cool. Vaibhav, dreams we will discuss later. Yeah. Yes. Among Us with Dr. Sanath would be so much. All right. So I don't want to play with the night gang because I really need to sleep today. My sleep cycle is completely gone, so I need to sleep. But we can definitely play with our Discord group for a while. Yeah. Let's play 2 games. Cut to 4:30. Yeah, that's what happened. I do have clinic tomorrow. Which channel on Discord? The gaming channel. Come on the gaming channel. Guys, give me like 15 minutes. Let me have dinner. Because once I start playing, then I won't get time. And then let's meet in Discord, right? Okay. Thank you. That is the end of the stream. You guys are amazing. I'll see you all on Discord. Yes, Discord confirmed 15-20 minutes, and then we can decide how to do it there. Okay, wait. Hang on. Did I miss any super chats? Hold on. Avichal, the limbic system poem is just the best. Thank you so much, Avichal. I really appreciate that. Mohan has said there's an imposter in the stream. Vote him out, Mohan. Vote him out. We have to do it. Karan, is Among Us happening tonight? It is now. We'll play on Discord for a while. Stream till 12, then phone call VD to wish birthday Mohit Bhatt. That's actually not a bad idea, but then we still have half an hour to go. I think it's better to let's see. Let's see if we can call him. But I don't think we should stream till then. Instead, I think what I'll do is I'll have dinner and then I'll see you guys on Discord. All right. Thank you so much. This was super fun. I was really wondering how this conversation will go, but this is I loved it. We will do a lot more, right? If we can do neuroscience of Among Us, we can do anything. I think so. I mean, neuroscience of Among Us was the big one. Just have dinner, bro. I know. All right. See you guys. See you soon. Bye.